Hello, my name is Phil Leahy, and I'd like to welcome you to a really different version of The Empty Chair. As I'm sure everybody in Methuen knows, recently Pat Uliano passed away. What many of you probably don't know is because of her, we have The Empty Chair on MCTV. Because of her and the start she gave us, we'd like to dedicate this episode to her and her family. And I want her family to know that although Pat's no longer with us, what she started here will continue for years to come, I believe, to help addicts and families get through the recovery process. Fran?
Hi, I'm Fran Leahy, Phil's wife and Colleen's stepmom. And I'm here to read something that Colleen wrote about Pat. But before I do that, I just want to say that I admired Pat so much. Pat was someone that I wish I could be like. She spoke her mind and didn't care what people thought, and she fought for what she believed in. And she was truly an inspiration for a lot of people, and she will be missed terribly in this community. So with that, I'm going to read what Colleen wished she could be here and say. I just want to take a minute to thank Pat Uliano for the opportunity to be on her show In Focus. I think I speak for me and my dad when I say we had absolutely no idea the good that would follow and the awareness that is so desperately needed for addicts and their loved ones. Because Pat had the courage to have me and my dad share our story, many others followed and have resulted in powerful shows that are getting the attention of many people. I really liked Pat, and she made me feel comfortable on her show. She made me laugh, and I'm forever grateful to her. I would have loved to be here in person, but like Pat, I also have a commitment to help people, and I'm speaking at a meeting tonight. The show you're about to see started it all. I truly get chills thinking about it. Thank you, Pat. You're the best.
Hello, welcome to In Focus. I'm Pat Uliano, your host this evening, and we have two very special guests with us. We have Phil Leahy. Phil, thank you for being here. And we have Colleen Leahy. Thank you for being here, Colleen. Phil is part of a group called the Circle of Hope, and this is about addiction. And they've decided that they want to come on the show and talk about this, and it's wonderful. I really appreciate both of you being here. It's something that, you know what, people know about, but they don't talk about.
No, and
tell us about the
well,
circle.
I mean, from my aspect, yeah, I belong to a support group called the Circle of Hope. We've been in existence, it'll be 3 years this summer. And it came about with one of the people in our group did a story in the Tribune, and a lot of us about her having kids that were drug addicts, heroin addicts. And I read the story and I said, oh my, and she wanted someone to talk to. So I called her and another one called her, and the next thing you know, she had phone calls from about 25 people. So we met over her house one time and we had our first meeting.
Now, why were you meeting, Phil?
Well, basically just to, when I say a support group, that's pretty much what it was. The first couple of meetings, we just kind of talked about each other, what we've been through, what the kids have put us through, the mistakes we've made, and you come to find out that a lot of these things you were embarrassed about doing, embarrassed about your kid doing, having your kid do to you, almost all of us, let's say 25 people, basically all had the same story, different variations, but the same, and all of a sudden you don't feel like a dope. You don't,
like you're the only one
Yeah,
there.
like we're the only ones that, you know, that my kid is the worst thing on, you know, and anyway, we met a couple of times, and then a real savior, Joe Cotton, he's the CEO from the Psychological Center in Lawrence, right on South Union Street. And he got involved, and he invited us, our group, down to there. We meet, he lets us have a room to have our meetings, and we meet every Wednesday from at 7 o'clock at night. And what he does is he attends every other meeting
Okay.
And he's really an expert on addiction, and he's helped a lot of us, me in particular. We go down there and we try to help ourselves, help us get through with it, help us stop enabling our kids, help them to stand on their own. And we're pretty successful at it. And we all make mistakes, and we have relapses just like,
Colleen's going to tell us about
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And what will happen is we'll help each other. Again, Colleen, when with this first thing started, she had been in a program and she was clean and 15 months clean. And I'll tell you the truth, again, I was pretty naive about it, and I says, well, she's cured. Well, she had a relapse. This group helped me get through that.
Okay.
And it helped me to help her. You have to understand that if they don't want to get into recovery, there's nothing you can do to make them.
Okay.
So you wait until they approach you. And that's pretty much what we do. And when they do, Joe Cotton has a lot of resources, and he helped Colleen get into a place that she's been devoted to for
Almost 18 months.
almost 18 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
I want to roll back the clock, because we talked about it before we went on the air, about denial, about not recognizing signs. And I know, Colleen, you're going to be able to furnish those things firsthand.
Yeah.
And Dad can pick up on what he wasn't seeing, and you were telegraphing, but he didn't see.
Yeah.
So how do we start?
Well, actually, I was kind of hoping Colleen, like, when she was in high school,
Well, you even said that, like, when you found out that I was a heroin addict, like, you were completely and totally blown away by it.
Yep.
And let me just say, like, first of all, that, like, there's no model of like, a drug addict. All shapes and sizes, financial backgrounds, neighborhoods, ages, like, everything. And that's just from my experience, like, what I've learned since I've been in recovery, because I attend a 12-step program. And like him, like, he gets his recovery from his meetings, and I get mine from my meetings. And it's like the support and not feeling like so alone anymore, and that, that we're not, like, so unique, that there's a lot of people that have those problems.
Okay.
But like you said, they don't want to talk about it. But like, for me, like, the best thing that he could do, like, to help me was to, like, love me from a distance when I wasn't willing to get help. You know what I mean? Like he told me that, like, he'd always loved me because, like, I'm his daughter, but I took advantage of them so much because they were my family. I knew they weren't gonna go anywhere. They'd always be there. So for addicts, like, that's why the families are, like, the biggest targets. And we know what to say to them, like, you're the only one that can help me, and we know exactly what to say to our parents to manipulate them to get what we need to get.
Really?
To get money or whatever, or some place to stay. It's really horrible. Like, I don't mean to, like, put it out there, but, like, at a time when I was at my worst, he told me that, like, I'll bring you, like, a blanket in the street, but you will not stay at my house anymore, because I was robbing from them. I was lying to them. I was putting him through physical pain because of my addiction, causing my family, like, all this pain. And now, like, I live with him now because I've done the work, and he trusts me now. You know what I mean? Like, he presented me with, like, after I got, like, a year clean, and it was just an awesome moment, and the fact that I'm not only welcome in his house, but, like, I live there now. I never thought I'd be welcome
Back
in his
there.
house again. And it's because that he was able to get help through, like, the Circle of Hope group. He was able to get some recovery so that he could take a step back, because all addicts have to hit a bottom. You know what I mean? Like, it has to get to a point where it's like, I can't do it anymore, and you got to, like, surrender and just say, like, I need help. But if someone keeps putting, like, a pillow under your butt, you don't really hit your bottom. And that's what they were doing for a long time. So he had to kind of get the pillow out.
Parents would tend to do that.
Yeah, like, let me hit my bottom, and that's truly when my recovery started. Is when he had to, my whole family, like, had to take, like, a step back and let me, like, do the work.
Was that the hardest thing you ever had to do?
well, the hardest thing to do, that was hard. What was even harder was shortly after I did that, when I basically threw her out of my house, which was then to have a call the next day to say that she OD'd. That was hard.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that I may have lost my daughter. And she went into Baldpate. And she was there about 2 days, and she called me up, and she says, get me out of here, get me. And I says, no, I won't do it. And I'll tell you, she actually, she
I was
kind
swearing at him on
Oh,
the phone,
like you would
yelling
not-
at him like, you don't just saying all, but it's the disease that's saying all this. It's not really me,
Right.
you know. But
Right.
but still, it's the damage that we do.
So the hard thing was that after she OD'd and I almost lost her, to stick by my guns and say no,
Wow.
Yeah.
that was hard. But
And that's where the Circle of Hope came in.
that's where, and not just that, but I had to make her believe what I was telling her,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
She had to believe that
you
I
meant
meant
it.
it.
Yeah, if I would have saw just a little bit of him holding back, and I thought I'd still be able to try and get in somehow, then I wouldn't be clean. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't, and it's because of like he got like the support from other people going through the same stuff, and plus you being able to help them,
Yeah.
and just sharing like the same stories and identifying with each other, and
Did you ever get angry with him because you knew that he was getting help and trying to help you? Or didn't it?
only when I wasn't doing the right thing.
Okay.
You know, like when I was doing the right thing, I was happy to see him getting well also.
Right.
You know, but you know, when I was using, he was doing good, and he was pretty much I couldn't get one over on him anymore, so it was frustrating.
Okay,
But that helped me to
frustrating.
get to the
Okay.
point where I needed to get to
Uh-huh.
to be able to stop. You know.
Okay.
And you know, and something I want to get, because you know that's like her story and my story, and the Circle of Hope story. But here's what I'm concerned. You know, and again, when she was in high school, and you know, again we were talking how you get with a group and you try to fit in, which is true. But you know, we found out she was doing a little drinking. Well, it's only booze. And then we found out she was doing a little grass. Well, it's only grass. Never in my wildest dreams did I think, when I found out that she was doing heroin, my first reaction, like a lot of people, when you think of a heroin addict, and Colleen hit on it, when you think of a heroin addict, you think of some street person, low life. No, middle class, parochial grammar school,
Yep.
go on vacations every year. We had the typical middle class family upbringing.
Was that harder for you to understand? Did you ever
It was
blame
at that time.
Did you ever blame yourself?
Oh, absolutely. You know, what could I have done to stop? And you want to know something? It's not that I blame myself now, but maybe, and this is, you know, any parents that are watching tonight, and I hope Colleen kind of gets this across too, she's going to probably try to tell you some of the signs to look for.
Okay, that's what I'd like.
You all right? Could we have done, well, let me put it this. Some people in our group who have jumped on their kids a little bit quicker than I would have, and maybe stopped them from going as far into the drug scene as Colleen did.
Yeah.
By being aware, all right? By not saying, well, it's just this. It's, some people, not all people, but some people are going to, you know, they want to say it's not a gateway. Try and talk to a heroin addict that didn't start on one of the others.
Yeah.
Okay? So it is a gateway. It's just that some people may not go all the way. But a lot of people,
But it's a big gamble to take, though, to
Yeah.
see like, well, you know, maybe I can just do these, you know, weed and alcohol, and maybe it won't lead to these other things. But the consequences that could come from just starting out, like with those, you know, smaller, you know, drugs, I guess, it's not worth it. And I guess, like, you know, I'm trying to like think back to like when I first started, like signs that to look for would just be, I mean, the first thing that pops into my head is like money. If the, you know, the money's gone and they can't really explain like where the money's going, all of a sudden there's an obsession with money, like always got to get money, just holding secrets. It's like living like double lives, you know. Like I would assume like just if your kids don't want to like tell you nothing. I mean, right? I mean that's pretty much how
Yeah.
I was. Like I didn't want to tell him who I was with, where I was going. If he would call, like I wouldn't answer because you know when you're drinking and getting high, like if your phone rings and it's you know like a family member or something like that, you're gonna ignore it. So it's basically just living like a secret life that you don't want them to have a part of because you're not doing the right thing.
But let me ask you a question. A lot of young teenagers do that anyway.
Yeah.
So how do you distinguish whether they're doing it because they just don't want, they're grown up now and they don't want to share with their parents, or they're at a point like you were,
Yeah, well, it's hard to see. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. The best thing to do is just to straight out like ask them, and just kind of see what they have to like say. See if they can maybe be honest about it, or just maybe not even ask them like, are you doing drugs? But like if you have a problem with something, like if you ever want to talk about, I mean, I'm not a parent, I really can't say, but like I don't know.
Just ask them. But a lot of these teenagers won't even talk to
Well,
their
you want to-
parents.
if-
How did you?
With her, I never did. All right?
No, but how did you finally find out, Phil?
About her being on heroin?
Yeah.
I found out because she got in trouble with a job.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
but
my
up and-
boss told
and how
him.
long were you on it before you got in trouble with your job?
I would say at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And
At
least a
you
couple of
didn't know
years.
anything?
Didn't have, I knew that she was drinking, and again, I'm saying, well, it's no big deal. It is a big deal.
Can
And-
you control yourself on drugs when you walk into the house? Now, I know a lot of kids have said, I drink, but as soon as I walk in the house, I can walk a straight line to the bedroom.
Yeah, well,
Can you do that?
No, and anybody who says that they can is lying. Like that's just complete
Okay.
denial, and
Okay.
thinking that because I don't know how many times that I had gone to his house completely under the influence of God knows what, and thought that I looked fine.
Yeah.
I remember going on job interviews, high as a kite, thought I looked fine because it's like, it's just a denial. Like everything's okay. Like you're always telling yourself like everything's okay. We look fine. We look good. Like we're not talking messed up. Like, it's just a giant like lies that you tell yourself to make yourself think that everything's like okay.
But Dad didn't know until.
No, Dad, like I said, Dad knew that she was doing some drinking and like that, and he accepted that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So you knew there was something,
Yeah.
but okay.
And again, did I make a mistake? Yeah, I mean, she
What
was.
parent hasn't,
Yeah,
though?
but she was underage. She was doing it, and I should have stepped in. Would it have prevented her from being where she ended up? I don't know. She doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is, I know we do have people in our group that because they've come to our group because they had suspicions that their kids were on grass or whatever like that, and they've nipped it in the bud and have been very successful, which I'm very proud to say is one of the real success stories of our group.
Mm-hmm.
We've helped some parents nip it in the bud. I'm hoping that this show here, Colleen was just a regular high school girl, all right? Regular middle class family.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can get addicted.
And anybody's eligible to get it. And I wish there was some kind of like, thing that I could tell them like exactly what to look for, so they'd be able to pinpoint like if their kids were using or whatever. Like, but there's not, because I don't know. It's just like a hard thing. But like, just like you're never too young to recover. You know what I mean? Like I've seen addicts come to meetings and they're young and they're getting it and they're getting years clean. Like 18, 19, 20 years old, and they get in years clean because like they're already seeing like I don't want this kind of life.
Okay.
Because there is a better kind of life. Like it's basically just wasting time. All the years that I drank and did drugs, all different kinds of drugs, whether it was weed, alcohol, all the way up to heroin, it was basically just like wasting time. And kids are starting to see that now. And there are a lot heavier drugs out now, and kids are doing them younger. I've been to detoxes before. Kids are younger and younger
Really?
that are getting into detox, and they're doing heavier drugs. Because and I don't know what it is. Like maybe they just don't have any fear of it, or they just don't know what they're in for. Like I don't know the answers to that, but there is another way. You can never be too young to stop using drugs. Like life just gets like better and better. Like I like the past like 18 months that I've been clean have been like the absolute best time of my life. Like I just can't even like describe like the feeling that you get like being in recovery. Like it's really awesome. And the fact that he's in recovery too, and he knows that like, because of his group, if God forbid, like I do have like a slip, a relapse or something like that, like he's gonna be okay, because he knows that there's nothing he can do to control that. Like it's all about like him being okay.
Okay, when let's just for the viewing audience, when you say your dad's in recovery, he's in recovery based on what you've been through.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Circle of Hope is basically a group that helps the parents recover
Yes.
Right.
from the knowledge, knowing that their child
Yeah.
is
And I'll
now-
be honest with you, when a parent is in recovery and their kid is active, ours is like, when they slip, they get high and this and that, and they're off. But when they do that's when the parent basically has their relapse. And that's when you hurt.
Oh, any parent that
you get
can't
that
see that.
pit in
Yeah.
your stomach. Oh my God, it's the worst feeling I've ever had in my life. And but no, and I've learned a lot from her. I've learned so much from her, and some of her friends, you know, that come over the house and.
Imagine that my friends are welcome over his house again. Like it's been years since anything like that's happened.
So that's.
Her friends helped me on my campaign.
I saw you holding this.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, what it really is again, I'm so proud of her. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't tell you.
I know you are, because when we talked about this,
Yeah, I mean.
you were more excited that Colleen was going to be on the show
Yeah.
than you were.
Because, you know, I can come and I can talk, but it's nice to see someone, you know, I can talk about the recovery, she lives it, you know, and she also knows that she lives it one day, you know, I hate to use the cliches, one day at a time is really her whole life.
Well, we talked about that also, and
Yeah.
I asked Colleen that if not being busy, would you be more apt to get into the drug scene, because you're not, and that wasn't necessarily the case with you. You were working,
Right, right.
but during your recovery process, you said you have to stay. Repeat what you said to me when I said to you, do you have to stay busy all the time? Because when you're not, that's when your mind goes. And you told me.
Right. Basically, like in early recovery, when you're kind of clearing up and the drugs are coming out of your system and you're starting to learn how to live again, it's recommended that you stay like very much in the middle of whatever 12-step program you choose to be in. You know, going to a lot of meetings and just trying to stay like really connected. I had a job, going to the gym, and just, you know, trying to like stay busy so that if the obsession to use would come up, I had tools that I could go to use to get through that and get through that day, and then move on, you know, to the next day. It's all about keeping it, you know, like in the day. And now that I've been clean for a little while, it's not so much like I always
Well, no,
gotta.
tell us, because you're proud of it. You've
Yeah,
been clean
I have 18
for-
months on the first, but
That's wonderful.
who's counting?
I think you two are.
But
But
so-
now you can what?
Now I can sit with myself. You know, I believe, like, you know, peace has been restored to me because my life was so chaotic, like, for so long, and now I just feel like, you know, like peace has been like restored. Like I have serenity now. You know, like I can sit and watch TV. You know, if that's what I choose to do on any given day, or you know, my day's usually filled with like a bunch of stuff because, like I said, like I feel like I missed out on a lot of my life using and abusing, and now it's like, you know, not that I'm trying to play catch up or anything like that, because I believe that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Like at this moment, I don't regret anything, and I don't forget it either, because if you forget your past, like you're kind of doomed to repeat it. So I always have to remember where I came from and just be grateful for where I'm at right now.
Okay.
You know, and that kind of helps me like get, you know, through the day and not have to always be like doing something. Like I haven't had the desire to use like in a while.
I was going to ask you that next.
Yeah, the last time I actually felt like using, I honestly can't even say. Maybe like when my house caught on fire.
Oh, yeah.
That you know, that was kind of a you know, traumatic thing that happened.
So it'd be stress or something that.
Yeah, but I mean,
unexpected.
it was only for like you know, like maybe 10 seconds where I was like, oh, like because I just wanted to forget about the stress for a second. But then like I play the whole tape of like, okay, I'm gonna use, and then what's gonna happen? I'm gonna lose his trust. You know, I'm probably gonna lose my job. I'm gonna lose if I even survive a relapse, because this disease is fatal. You know, like it can kill us. Like people overdose and die every day. You know, so I mean, it passes like really fast now.
Good.
You know, so I'm very
and you
grateful
find
for
that
that.
you don't do it as, you don't think about it as often. So
No.
each day
Yes,
you get better.
I do.
What would be the cause, Colleen, of somebody? What would cause a relapse? Where, I mean, and you're talking so positive, and you're very focused. That's why they call this info.
You're gonna have to get.
You're very focused, and you know what you need to do. You know what you've done, and you know what you've put your parents through, and you know where you want to go. What would trigger something? What do you think? Do you know what would trigger you?
I know it would be dangerous for me.
Okay.
I know that if I stopped going to meetings, if I stopped talking to other people in recovery, if I stopped like praying, you know, if I stop doing the things that I do that have worked for me up to this point.
Okay.
If I start slacking off on any one of those things, then I start to get lazy, and then I start to think that like I'm cured. You know,
okay.
and at that point, something might trigger me. You know, something like you know, like the house thing or a car accident, financial. I mean, there's a whole list of things that could be stressful.
You
that
walk
could-
out
that
the
could
door and it's stress.
Right, it's raining. You know, I think I'm going to get high today. You know what I mean? It could be like, once you're at that point, it could be like any reason. You know, so that's why I try and prevent even getting to that point.
Okay.
You know, and I can talk to him about anything. Like it's, you know, we talk about recovery like a lot.
Isn't it amazing that a man, a dad, that you couldn't say anything to when you were younger, now He knows everything.
Yeah,
It just-
our relationship has developed. Our father couldn't ask for a closer relationship than I have with my daughter. Basically, because of the connection we do have and the understanding we have. With the help of the group and with the help of her, more importantly, I understand, and she keeps saying disease, and I really, really do wish people would realize that this disease is no different than cancer. It's incurable. It can go in remission, all right? But it's always there,
Wow.
okay?
Yeah.
And it is a disease. It's not just something you say, I'm all done with it. It's
Yeah.
not that easy. And that's what people have to understand. And they have to understand it's not, no cure. I mean, she's sitting here and she's doing great. And again, I couldn't be more proud of her if she graduated from Merrimack College, because actually what she's done is harder, okay? But I also do know that, like you were saying, if she relaxes a little bit, starts thinking she's all better, then she could be in trouble again.
Yeah.
And well, she's met people, and I think one of the reasons she likes about
It feels good to do that stuff too. It's not even that
Yep.
I do it because it
Right.
keeps me clean, like doing like all these things. Like it feels good, you know. Like
enjoy it.
when you know the feeling you get like when you leave like a really good meeting, and like I speak at meetings sometimes, and the feeling that you get when you leave, it's almost like a high. Like that's why we say like we chase our recovery like we chase the drugs, like because we like that good feeling and helping others and giving back.
And you never felt that before you got on drugs?
No, I always felt very self-conscious.
Yep.
I always felt like I was less than. I just wanted to be liked and accepted, and I was willing to do like anything to be accepted.
Okay.
I had no idea what I was in for.
Okay.
But I didn't know what I didn't know.
That's really interesting. That's
and
an
then they'd
interesting
get to the
part.
point where they'd do anything to get the drugs. I mean, she spent more time trying to get drugs. That was probably one of the hardest jobs you ever had.
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day trying to get money for dope.
Yep.
Wow.
And I mean, luckily, like I never went to jail. I mean, I mean, that's not a part of my story. Like, a lot of women, prostitute and this and that. Like, thank God, like that's not a part of my story. But those are yets for me. If I chose to pick up, then I'm eligible for all that too. Like, I don't know where my disease is going to take me. You know what I mean? So that's the stuff I have to think about.
You're going to have to think about this the rest of your life. Is
If
there
I want to stay clean, yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. I always have to remember how powerful like the disease of addiction is.
There's
See,
never-
and I just another thing people.
That's hard to understand.
Yeah, well, another thing people will say, and I hate when they say this too, because they don't put the blame where it belongs. When they'll Colleen says she's stolen from you, she's lied, and they say, how can you do that to your own family? Two different people. I'm going to tell you, the worst person in the world is an addict that's active. The nicest person in the world is an addict that's in recovery.
Yeah.
Same person, but what they will do to get their drugs is not, I don't want to say it's not their fault, it's just part of the disease. It's something where you want it so bad, there's nothing you won't do. Nothing.
So there's never a point you think, Colleen, in your life, in an addict or a recovering alcoholic or someone who is addicted to cigarettes, that you look at it, you see it, and you just don't even want it.
Yeah, I mean,
without having to think about it.
Yeah, well,
it's not even a thought process anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely there. Like now, where if I see, if I were to see drugs right now, like I mean, I wouldn't be like, white knuckling it or anything like that, because I know like what the program does for me.
So it's okay.
Because it's a choice now, because I have some information.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I know what kind of life like that is, and I choose not to like sign up for that pain and misery anymore. Like I choose to live a more like spiritual and like a God-centered life, and not so much self-centered, where I'm just out to get like everything else.
Okay. Do you think there's ever going to be a point in your life that you're right now, you're focused. You know that there are certain things you have to continue to do. Mm-hmm. Do you think you'll ever be able to let go where it's not even a thought process anymore? You wake up, you take a shower, you do what you want, and it never occurred to you that you have to go to a meeting or you have to remember what it was like Do you ever think that that will happen? Do you know anybody that has said that that gets to that point?
Honestly, like I hope it never does.
Okay.
Because I love my life like so much today, and you know, and what I do every day, like I just get like so much joy from it, and it makes me a better person every day. So like the day that comes where, you know, I woke up and I didn't have the desire to use it, like I hope that day doesn't come.
So you appreciate life where
I do.
most of us don't because we've never been through this.
Right. I have like overwhelming gratitude today, and I never even, that word was not in my vocabulary before.
That's wonderful. That is
Yeah.
great. Now, there's a telephone number, folks, on the screen that you can call if you want to talk to Phil about the Circle of Hope.
Right.
And if there are addicts,
Well, addicts or the parents of addicts.
parents of
Yep.
addicts, well, I wanted to give Colleen's number because that's out
Well,
there
yeah,
too,
that's what I'm
for
saying.
both.
Yep.
If you want a little information, you know, about our
talk.
group, we'd love to have you. But if you want to find out something about drug addiction and someone who's going through it, you can give Colleen a call.
Either
Parent
number.
or kid.
Either number, folks, if you want some information, and I'm sure that you have two wonderful people here that would love to share their story with you.
Absolutely. We enjoy it like you would never believe.
I
take
can't
you to a
thank you
meeting.
enough. It's really heartwarming, and it's amazing. It really is.
Beach talking politics.
Thank you so much for being here, Colleen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
I will, thanks.
Thank you for joining us on In Focus. I can't believe how emotional this is, but this is no,
Oh,
it
yeah.
really is.
Yeah, it
truly
definitely
is.
is.
It's wonderful. Thank you for being with us in Focus, and join us next time.